Welcome back to A Fresh Story, the podcast where we have conversations about brave decisions to start over again. I'm Olivia.
And I'm Jenny, and we're so glad you're here today.
Hello, sister. What's going on with you?
That was a bit of a sinister sister. What's going on with me? Oh, so much fun. So the day we recorded this podcast.
Let's start with this. This is the PSA announcement.
This is my PSA announcement. I thought that I was having an outsized reaction to the COVID bivalent vaccine. And I woke up the other day and my eye was swollen, almost to the point of being swollen shut from like hives on my eyelid. That was kind of, even though I've been having migraines and prickly feelings on my scalp and blistering on my forehead, I thought this was all related to the COVID vaccine, but that was my final straw. And I called the teledoc, my doctor, at the same time. And the teledoc sort of looked at me and immediately said, "You have shingles and it seems to be in your eye and you need to go get that checked out."
Yeah. So I did. And you took that really lightly. I'm kidding.
What did I do? I ran into Olivia's room and I said, "I just need to say some things." And I'm not sure she understood any of those things because it was mostly hysterical sobbing. Because it's really scary.
It was scary.
I think the thing about what the teledoc said to me was, you need to have a doctor look at that eye and you need them to I need you to make them take this seriously, which I respected, but I also felt so powerless because so often you go into a doctor, they're like, "Who told you that? Why did they say that? Google's not a doctor, blah, blah, blah." And I looked up the symptoms and I kind of just knew that that's what it was.
I also want to add too, I found in dealing with the children even that when you go to the doctor in person, they often put down the teledoc.
Right. And I was nervous about that too. Because I've had that experience as well.
Yeah.
So luckily we went to, I couldn't get in with my doctor, but I got in with somebody at the practice I called the teledoc at 9. By noon, I was seeing an in-person doctor and she was wonderful and walked into the room. I brought Olivia with me, which I'm not a person that's scared of doctors, but I knew I needed somebody standing behind me going, "No, you need to look at her eye. You need to take it seriously." And the doctor walked into the room. I take off my mask and she goes, "Oh yeah, that's shingles and it's in your eye. And I'm going to go call some ophthalmologists to get you in today." So the deal with shingles is this. Shingles is the chickenpox vaccine that lies dormant in your body. I had shingles the winter of 92. Olivia and our brother had it as well. There was also a snowstorm going on. There was a lot happening. And it's just been hanging out in my body, waiting for a moment to shine. The combination of being really sick for the 2 weeks before Christmas and then leaving Thomas, which remains one very stressful situation because I miss him. And all the other things that go with an international relationship. And then getting my bivalent when I landed because I couldn't get it before because I was away when they approved it, and my flu shot made this sort of perfect little storm of low immunity, high stress. And that's what it's waiting for. The virus will then wake up and attach to a nerve in your body. And this is not scientific, but this is how I understand it. Yeah. It attached to my optic nerve. For many people, 80% of the population, it attaches to usually a torso nerve, something like that, but it only will appear on half of your body. So like either an east or west half.
Right.
And when it attaches to your eye, it's very dangerous because it could end in vision loss.
And you already have vision. You already have.
Right. I already wear contacts or glasses, and I really don't like wearing my glasses. So that's hard for me already because I'm uncomfortable. It's not sort of my comfort zone, but I'm doing whatever the doctors tell me to do. Luckily, I got into the doctor. We caught it pretty early, knock wood, I'm on Valtrex. And I went back in yesterday and they did say they saw slight inflammation, but I'm on steroid eye drops now. So hopefully it keeps going in a good direction. But I just want to encourage you, if you have blistering on your forehead and your eyelid, pain on your scalp, prickly feeling, really bad irritation, stinging, itching in your eye, just to get it checked out earlier rather than later, because I had
Yeah.
no idea. I thought I was allergic to the cat. I didn't understand what was going on. I thought I was having like migraines and COVID reactions, COVID vaccine reactions, flu shot reactions, because it was all happening on the same side I got my shot. And I just want to encourage people to go to the doctor if they have those symptoms, because it's the earlier they catch it, the better. And it could be really scary.
Yeah,
So
it could cause real damage if it's not caught
I
early.
had no idea. I'd never heard of this. Our dad, who's like the chillest guy ever, was really scared. And his dad was a doctor and he had never heard of this, had no idea. And our brother had shingles when he was a kid. Like we just had no idea. So
and also I feel like the more you're talking to people about this, the more younger people are saying they've gotten shingles.
yeah,
So people
yeah.
are getting shingles for sure. And it was scary because I think that like the multiple doctors that you saw didn't want to say what the outcome could be. And they were like, well, we just want to get you in.
Well,
and,
there's a fear too. We were at the GP and she's like, here, take these numbers and call the doctor. And I sat in the doctor's office calling the ophthalmologist, and she said, and if they don't want to see you today, tell them that you have shingles in your eye because they need to know. So I called the doctor, it's noon, and they go, okay, we'll see you at 4:00. And I said, okay. And then they called me back like half an hour later. They were like, can you come in at 1:00? And I was like, is this because the doctor has like dinner plans, or is this because it's really bad and you need to see me immediately? Because I'm so glad the medical system is working, but I don't want to be an emergency. That's so scary to think that they're like rushing me through. But I was very grateful for my health insurance and for the privilege of health insurance and the privilege of doctors and being able to pay copays and just go through it, but also for things working as they should. But this is my new platform: is if you have these symptoms, get to a doctor. Better to be told you're goofy and that it's allergies than lose your vision. So
no one here thought that is what it could be at all, and I was sure it wasn't even when the doctor said it was. So
right.
Yeah, so thank you for the PSA. Maybe someday you'll share some photos of that so people can see what it looks like.
I've already posted them on like Facebook groups.
Okay. She'll share some
I have no shame. I'm just hoping that thoughts and prayers for the fact that it keeps getting better. I go back next week, so I'm pretty nervous. I'm pretty nervous about it. I just hope that I'm taking my medication and my eye drops as told. So
and I keep telling her to rest, and she doesn't do that. So
I'm trying. And the thing is, like, you're supposed to be tired when you have shingles, and I'm not tired, and so that's kind of hard. So I'm trying to rest.
So the night that she was diagnosed with this, and her face was completely swollen, and she was a mess, I said, "Do you want to cancel this recording we have tonight?" And she said no. And the reason that she said no is because it was somebody we were so excited to talk to. It's somebody that we independently started following her on TikTok, and we both were sending each other her TikToks. We were both completely inspired by her. Her name is Laurel. She is the middle-aged, mid-sized Midwestern mom, right? I know, I never get it right, but we love her anyway. You can try it. Go, Jenny's gonna try it.
So you might know her as Laurel or as the middle-aged Midwestern mid-sized mom.
You know what? We're gonna let Laurel do it.
She's
she is the cutest. She's Laurel DeVille on TikTok. She is now up to 125,000 followers on TikTok. She my math ain't mathin'. Laurel is an art therapist. She's a mom of 3. She's a twin mom. And she is one of the people that really like uses TikTok for such a beautiful thing. She literally we'll talk about in the episode, started from just her closet and putting clothes on and inspiring women to feel their best in their clothing. And she is so warm and welcoming. And we had the best time talking to her. We like are forcing her to be our best friend. And definitely we'll put all her links in the show notes, but go follow her. We talk about this in the episode, but she completely changed the way I see my body and I look at myself and the way that I shop for clothing. She is a huge proponent of small business, which we talk about and we love. So take a listen. If you're somebody that's interested in influencer culture, TikTok, style, body size, also her fresh start was something really interesting, which we'll let her talk about on the show. So please remember to rate, review, and subscribe to A Fresh Story on all platforms because it helps us to reach more people and we can tell more stories. Enjoy Laurel's episode. is a Cleveland-based art therapist, scooter enthusiast, wife, mom of 3 boys, and style genius. But you may know her better as the middle-aged, mid-sized mom from the Midwest. Did I do that right? I hope so. As she is a TikTok icon, inspiring mid-sized fashion lovers every day on her account with her Let's Get Dressed videos. I've been following Laurel for a long time, since I've been on TikTok, and she has completely changed the way that I look at my body and that I get dressed. And when I'm in the mirror every day, I literally put on clothes and remember to pre-snap, as she always tells us to. So, Laurel, I am fangirling out right now. We have a lot of people that come on this podcast. We have a lot of celebrities that we talk to, and you are somebody I have been waiting for weeks to talk to. So I'm thrilled you're here. Thank you for taking time out of your busy mom life to talk to us.
It is my pleasure. This is my podcast debut. So
woo!
We're so
We are excited. Breaking news, everybody.
So, Laurel, why don't you tell us what your Fresh Start story is?
Well, I think my fresh start happened over the course of probably a good year or two. It really started after I gave birth to identical twins. And, long story short, had a postpartum trauma. And literally, you have twins. I gained 100 pounds. I lost the weight very quickly and then had crippling anxiety. So I wasn't eating. And so I lost all that weight and then like a lot more weight, way below my starting point. And it was a true mindfuck because people praised me. Left, like it was constant. And I felt really strange about it because I knew that my mental health was in the basement. It was in hell. Like it was really bad. I was not well. I'm breastfeeding twins. I'm taking care of a toddler. I'm not eating. And all people can focus on is how thin I am and how great I look. And so it really messed me up. And then, over the course of time, a few close family and friends intervened and were like, you need medication, you need therapy. And like, I'm a therapist. We're the worst. So I finally was starting to feel like myself again. And with that comes weight gain when you're eating normally. And I saw a creator sometime last year say, like, if you start eating a normal amount of food to satiate your hunger and you end up gaining weight, that's just the size you're supposed to be.
And
that really stuck with me. But all the attention I was getting from when I was smaller was also sticking with me as I was gaining 10 pounds, 15 pounds, 20 pounds. And I was really trying not to focus on it. But I couldn't help but think, oh, are they thinking like, what a fat ass? Or, I just couldn't help but wonder that. And I finally got to a place where I was like, you know what, it doesn't matter because I'm present with my kids. I feel good. My mental health is in such a better place. This is the size I'm supposed to be. And then I made the decision to get a breast reduction, which I wanted for my entire adult life. Tried to have one in my 20s. Insurance denied it. This time I pulled out all the stops, used all the tricks, got insurance to cover it 100%. So
that's amazing.
It was amazing. It was a really rough experience for me, actually. I had complications, weird complications. I would still do it over again. But again, it was drastically changing my body and kind of having to get to know my body again. And, with pregnancy, it's like, it just, your body is constantly changing. Your skin is stretching, it's shrinking. And now I've taken 3 pounds off of my chest. And it like opened a door of, self-esteem for me that I've never experienced. Like I've never considered myself a super self-conscious person, but just to be able to have the freedom to like wear a button-down shirt and not have it pop open, simple things like that I've just never been able to do. And so really like embracing the change in my body, trying new things, that just kind of evolved to me starting these like let's get dressed videos, and the tagline came to me in a dream.
I love
Like,
that.
I'm a size 14, I'm from Cleveland, my from Navy and Target, like,
Yeah.
and the tagline came to me. I woke up the next day, I pulled an outfit together, and I just did it, and it kind of went viral, and like the rest is history. So that's really my Fresh Start origin story.
I have questions because I am also a curvy lady with a larger than most people are comfortable with breast size. And I find like part of that experience, and I wonder how this was for you pre and post, is that like I can't wear button downs either. And so much of what I do, like I think they say it on TikTok, like, is she trying to be sexy or is she just existing in her body?
Yeah.
And I wonder how that experience felt, like also going from the like intense compliments where you're at your bottom, but you're so thin and society loves that. And then this idea that, so often we talk about breasts like they're the best thing in the world, right? Like everybody wants the big boobs and this and that. And then you have them and everybody's like, cover up. That's too low cut. You're so sexy for this. You're so sexy for that. And it's like, well, what do you want from me then?
Yeah.
And I wonder what your experience with that was.
I mean, that has really been my experience exactly. Other than I would add to that, like, I was self-conscious about them. And so my whole life I've been trying to hide them.
Mm-hmm.
That affected my, my posture.
Yeah.
Like this, like sitting like this still is pretty comfortable. Sitting upright feels good to me now because there's less weight on me, but also it doesn't feel like I'm pushing my breasts out. So I feel like I can have good posture without this notion of like I'm pushing my G cups out into the world.
Yeah.
But you can't wear a top without 4 inches of cleavage. You're not really trying to show cleavage. It's there, and it's always sexualized. Yet I can't breastfeed in public. Like it's just, it's crazy part of having breasts, I think. And
it is.
I've been pretty open about the breast reduction, and I got some, when you put stuff out on the internet, you know how it can go. It's like a mixed bag. People are like, why would you ever, like, I would die for breasts that size. And it's like, well, I have chronic headaches and neck pain, and I can't exercise or do cardio. And when I'm not wearing a bra, they're like literally at my waist. So what you see, I'm doing a lot of work underneath the clothes to make them look a certain way, and it's miserable.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's the whole experience has been kind of wild in that also I still am in a D cup. Like I don't have small ones. Like, but now I kind of feel like, oh, this is what I was meant to have. And, it very much is a plastic surgery. Like, I'm not going to say that it's not, because there is a cosmetic component to it. But for me personally, it was physical and a game changer.
There's that TikTok that's like, there's no one with a fresher glow up than like a woman that just got like half of her like breast cut off.
Yes. And I can relate to that. 100%.
Yeah. So in terms of like, your body went through so much over the last like 5-7 years, right? And how do you find that you can connect to your spiritual self, your physical self, your body going through all those physical changes? Because I too am somebody that had a lot of physical changes with having kids and binge eating and all sorts of things, right? And something that I struggled with and worked with a lot of body coaches on was I didn't even have any connection to my body whatsoever. Like, so how did you deal with that? Did you go to therapy? Did you what were some of the methods and tools that you used? Because you come off as an incredibly confident person, and that must have taken some healing to do that.
Gotta fake it till you make it. I like there are definite, like I still struggle with it. It's a daily thing for me. But I think especially since I've been doing these TikToks, like getting feedback from other women of my size or larger than me or smaller than me who, I mean, I got probably like 500 cards for Christmas in my PO box from women all over the country. I mean, I was like reading them and crying.
Yeah.
Because I would never in a million years have guessed that this would have had like an impact on anyone other than myself. Like, I'm doing this for me and it's making me feel good and it's giving me body acceptance by like putting clothes on and putting myself out there and embracing the changes in my body and showing that like I have thick thighs and I've got like loose skin from the twins and just showing all of it.
Yeah.
Like, I never thought that it was going to impact anybody else. So I think for me, like, that's been a huge part of it, is knowing and hearing that so many of us struggle with that every day and that it's totally normal, and that the more we're talking about it and showing it and normalizing it, the more it's like, oh, so like I don't have to hide under these super baggy clothes, and I can actually wear what I want. And oh, I'm in my 40s, I can wear those earrings, and it's like, yeah, you can actually do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
I was definitely in therapy. I'm on a break now. I feel like I'm in a good place. But yeah, I think it is a matter of connecting your body and your mind, not, for me, it's a fine line. Like, I wouldn't say that I've had disordered eating necessarily, but I've definitely gotten into cycles where it's like every calorie is counted.
Yeah.
If you fight it, you write it. The Weight Watchers. I don't know if I can.
You did grow up in America in the 80s and the 90s. Like,
Yeah.
we can't avoid it.
Like, I grew up in an ingredients household, which my siblings and I just like had a light bulb moment a few weeks ago. And I was like, oh my God, we totally had an ingredients only household.
Yeah.
And so I think once we all moved out, we were like, I'm going to buy all the snacks because I can, and we have them,
Yeah.
We know.
So
Yeah.
And so I think like not restricting myself, but like eating intuitively, in that making sure that my diet is balanced. But if I want to have a handful of chips, like, I'm going to have them. I'm going to exercise to help with my blood pressure and my stress, not necessarily to like look a certain way. And so I think for me, mentally, really changing that focus has been a game changer, and knowing that like the scale doesn't really mean anything. And I just want to feel good in my skin and feel good in my body, and like have that connection to the emotional piece too. So I feel like the culmination of all of those things has been what it is this year.
I was just talking with a friend today about exactly this. We were talking about how she's divorced and I left an engagement, and how it was really hard for us to be intuitive with our own food when we were sort of so tuning into the intuition for another person. We were like passing our intuition off for our exes, food needs and things like that. And how we're at this place now where we're feeling really intuitive. And Olivia and I had this photo shoot scheduled for 3 weeks from now, but I have shingles. So I was like, can we push it a month? I can't. I don't want to think about this. So we push it. And I thought to myself, like, I know that I'll feel good in the dresses that I have scheduled for 3 weeks out in a month. I don't know that I would have always known that, or that I would have been like, well, maybe I'll lose weight before then, and then I'll need new dresses, And it was one of the first times in my life where I was like, I like myself in the dresses now. I'll like myself in the dresses in a month. And my friend said, like, we were talking about food and what society does to girls and to dieting and all that. And she said, yeah, well, here we are figuring it out at the ripe old age of 35. And I said, I don't think anybody younger than this can figure it out. Like, any younger than 35, you're not going to figure that out. It's the kind of thing that like, there has to be life lived and maybe babies had, and like all these things you have to go through it to like realize, oh, it's just about me, and it's about taking care of my health, and it's about my mindset and how the food makes me feel, the vitamins in and vitamins out. And it's like, it takes you a while to get to that point.
It does. And I can only hope that like the body positivity movement that's happening now is paving the way for
exactly
these young people that are in, high school, college, even younger, to not feel like I think about the late 90s, early 2000s of like the Ally McBeal and Paris Hilton, and like I was reading an article. There was like a picture of God, my dog's hot breath is just like just came over. Sorry. there was like a picture of Jessica Simpson in like
Yeah.
high-waisted mom jeans. I know you know the picture.
Yeah,
Know the picture.
Everyone's like, she got so fat.
Yeah.
And I even remember at the time being like, that's not fat, but I guess it's fat for her. You know, I remember being confused by it. And I think a lot of it is what's being presented in the media, fortunately. But I think that now, you know, I think lots of different size bodies are being normalized more. And, you know, I mean, when I was growing up, or even 5 or 10 years ago, you couldn't go to the gap.com and see somebody in a size 8, a size 12, a size 16, a size 20 to see what that body type, what those clothes look like on that body type. And you can do that now, which you can be like a revolutionary thing. It's not, you know, it's like the majority of the population that are size 0 is very small. Why is that what we see?
100%.
Exactly.
I mean, let's talk about bodysuits for a second, because I grew up kind of curvy as well, going up and down my weight my whole life. I never in my life thought that I would be a bodysuit girl. Why? I mean, I have a belly and a butt and whatever. And honestly, watching, and I'm gonna get teary-eyed because watching you do your videos, and you look so freaking adorable in your bodysuits, and you're stretching out your jeans with your hands, and you're having so much fun doing it, right? Like, you're silly.
But we thought we were the only ones that did that growing up.
No, does that.
we thought we were the only ones, like, you know, doing that to be comfortable.
But like I've been watching your videos since you launched, so you know, a year or whatever, and I have had a long journey with my own body stuff, and definitely was the person that covered my body up in the big clothes. Big time.
She's
I'm
barely
5 foot tall, and I wear like
five
extra large because I'm probably 14, 16, and I'm afraid, right? So I'm watching your videos and I'm like, well, she looks adorable in this bodysuit with these high-waisted pants. I'm going to try that. And I went on Target and I bought a bunch of bodysuits and I bought high-waisted pants, and I invested in them being hemmed, and it changed my life. It changed my life. And I don't mean that as an exaggeration. It completely made me feel like the founder of a company. It made me feel like I could get investors. Like, it was life changing. So I would love to hear a little bit about the feedback you get from being this TikTok, you know, influencer, from women, you know, daily. I'm sure you get messages. First of all, how do you keep up with all of that? Because you have a full-time job, you have 3 kids, a husband, a dog.
A full-time job. I'm part-time.
Okay.
So that's one.
Okay.
I mean, it is a lot to keep up with. And I would say I spend a lot of time replying to people in the evening hours, like once the kids are in bed. And it's really important to me to do that, because it's funny when I reply and people are like, oh my God, you replied. Like,
yeah,
it's me. Like, I feel, you know, it's been a very surreal experience that people even give a shit about and what I wear, honestly, because I am, just this person. And I guess everybody says, but you know, and I think getting the feedback like fuels my fire to keep doing it. Sometimes I'm just like, I want to make sure that this is authentic. And if I don't feel like wearing something cute today, like, I'm not going to do it. And then I was like, no, I should show that too.
Yeah.
And those are some of the videos that have the most views, where they're like, oh, so you could wear like leggings and sneaks and a flannel over it and like still be somewhat put together, but you're still also kind of in jammies. You know, I think that like the feedback that I get mostly is seeing you do it gives me permission to also do it. So we're all like being brave together.
Yeah, I love that. I mean,
I would like to give you a little more feedback, which is that for me, as somebody that's always been curvy and big breasted, I've never, like, on Instagram really connected with any Instagram like plus size, mid size, like you know, influencers, because there was often a way that like many of those women presented themselves. It was very feminine. And I do dress pretty feminine, but I dress like the girls that I thought were cool in the 90s dress most of the time. Like what you're wearing right now, like a lot of like mesh kind of mini dresses and with boots and things like that. Like I saw Clueless and I was like, that I want to be that for the rest of my life. And, you know, I think the amazing thing about being in your 30s is you get to do whatever you want, dress however you want. And so finding you on TikTok, which Olivia and I found you completely on our own, was like, you dress like I dress, you dress like I want to dress, you dress like you inspire me. And it's just like, so I think a lot of people have a lot of negative things to say about TikTok. I wholly believe that social media is what you make of it. It's if you curate a feed for yourself, and it will respond to you. My TikTok feed, my Instagram feed, they're wonderful places. And but the algorithm on TikTok brought me to you. And I was so excited just to be like, it's like I'm either in leggings and like a cozy top, or I'm in a dress. Like those are my two modes. And so to see somebody that like has a similar body type to me, is like super confident, has the most amazing haircut, like, and dresses the way I like to dress, it's like kind of transformative. And I think we didn't have that 5 years ago. I used to feel very alone in the world for a lot of reasons. And one of them was my body. Olivia and I grew up on the North Shore of Long Island, and it's very like Long Island. But it was like very like blonde, straight body, like
it's WASP culture.
WASPy, yeah. So it's like we were
Ashkenazi Jewish girls.
We were the only Jewish kids at school. I was the first one with breasts. I mean, I could not have been more of an outlier if I tried. And so to even see other people that look like me, like, you know, it was amazing. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
No, I was just going to say that, like, I feel you on that. You know, I grew up in a very, I don't want to say where it is because it's just, you know, and it was in a very upper, not middle class, upper class, white Catholic community, people with a lot of money.
Yeah.
My parents were like middle of the road. They were well off, but also they were like, we're not buying you that. If you want to buy that.
Right.
And, you know, it was the culture of like very thin girls that looked a certain way. I'm over here listening to No Doubt, playing the phone, going thrifting with my girlfriends, who everyone called us lesbians. 75% of us were, but we didn't know that at the time, you know, but it's like, I was on the fringe. I never felt like I fit in. And so, you know, going to college and finding a group of women, we were all just so incredibly different and different looking and different shapes and sizes, but besties, and still are. You know, I feel like that's it. Being in college with supportive people like that gave me permission to really start wearing what I wanted. And I kind of like always dressed this way, which is why it's funny for my friends that have known me for a really long time. They're like, well, you're just kind of doing your thing.
Right.
And that's cool too. And it's evolving, you know, like I wasn't able to wear bodysuits and, you know, super cool high-waisted jeans before. Maybe they didn't exist before. I don't know. Or I didn't feel like I had permission to try it. I think people have a lot of shit to say about social media, but in my little corner of TikTok, which is, I guess it's not that little anymore.
No, 125,000 people, Laurel.
25,000 people since yesterday, which is banana. Like I hardly ever get any rude comments. And normally if I do, you know, it's from a user with no picture and no screen name and videos and no followers. And I'm like, oh, you're a troll. And so if you're make somebody else feel bad, then that says a lot more about you than it does about me. But like, and follow me, and it's all women. I mean, there's my I just looked at it recently. It was like 0.5% men.
That's so funny.
So that's been really cool too. So it's just like a very supportive, not mean girl in the slightest, which I think we all experienced at some point. Growing up, or feeling like an outlier, or feeling like you didn't have the right body. And now it's kind of like, no, we're all in this together regardless of what your body is.
Yeah. I love that. You know, I think so much of female culture is surrounding yourself with the people that will encourage you, right? And you've cultivated this beautiful community on your TikTok page. I always leave comments because you are always layering your bodysuits, and I'm like, how do you pee? You're probably like, why does Olivia keep leaving comments about how I'm peeing? I'm like, because I'm always so worried about how I'm gonna pee places. So I get like very concerned because you're layering the bodysuit with the overalls with the fleece, and I'm like, Laurel, how do you do this?
And it's risky business. I like to live on the some people told me to put my tights on under my bodysuit, and I'm like, listen, even I'm not going to do that. I have my limit.
That feels extreme.
Very carefully.
So have you had any moments doing your TikTok page that have really blown you away, you know, that you were like, whoa, this like a celebrity commented, or like it hit a milestone that was like, I never
20,000 followers.
I mean, in one day. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday was huge. Mama Tot commented on my video yesterday.
Oh, I love her.
Yeah, I'm trying to get her on the show.
Oh, I love her. You know, I think that like when you have somebody that you look up to on social media and that they've built their page from being themselves, that is always kind of like a wow moment. Elise Myers commented on my first like viral post, which had nothing to do with fashion. It had to do with like COVID awareness, which I keep at the top of my page just in case anyone needs to know a little something about
reminder.
I was gonna ask about that. So, you know, we have followed you through some monumental times in history as well. And you are an activist as well as a fashion guru. So, how did you balance, were you ever like, should I not talk about this, or were you like, I don't care, I'm just talking about everything I'm talking about?
I definitely thought about it, and I think it's probably affected some of the brands I've worked with. So like there's that, but I'm also to the point in my life where like it's so far beyond politics for me, and I don't like it's not even a conversation. Why can't, why is everything political? Well, it's not political when it's life or death. Right. And it's not political when it comes to human rights. So I feel like I have to be myself and speak out about it when I feel called to do that. And if people aren't here for that and that's surprising to them, then they don't have to follow me. But I feel like with a platform like that and how many people might see it, you never know. I mean, I work in mental health. You just never know what the message could give the strength, like what kind of strength it could give to someone that really needed it in that moment.
Yeah, we work with a lot of influencers, and I was going to say, we talked to Katie Crenshaw a few weeks ago. She was on the show, and, she said the same thing, right? She was like, this is who I am. This is what I believe in. And we talk a lot, our backgrounds in social media. And so we talk a lot about when you get a platform, what does that mean, right? Like you like you said, you're just a regular person who got this platform. And we believe when you get a platform, you do have a responsibility, right? Yeah. And you have to uphold a level of kindness and respect for people, but also your values, which are human rights, and that everybody deserves to love whoever they want to love. And we've lost clients from social media because we've said certain things, and so we very much understand what you're saying. I have another question. So you are a huge proponent, like we are, of small businesses. Talk to us a little bit about the small businesses that, you work with. Feel free to call some of them out, because I'm huge fans of everything that you show, the small businesses that you talk about. I have so many things saved to ask for my birthday. So how do you find the small businesses that you work with? Do people reach out to you, and how does that work? And have you always been like a small business, lover?
Yeah, I've definitely always been a small business lover. I live in Lakewood, which is full of like cute little shops and boutiques and independent bars and restaurants. And I would so much, I shop at chain stores. You'll see me, like a lot of stuff is Old Navy, Gap, whatever, but I like to balance that out with supporting small businesses. And so that's something I've always loved. I love like a one-of-a-kind piece of jewelry where people are like, where'd you get that? And you're like, I got it at a little shop in Cape Town, South Africa.
Best of luck.
Yeah. And so I love that. I love when a piece of jewelry or a pair of shoes or like a shirt tells a story about a time or a place or a concert or whatever. So I knew that once I started having a platform, well, Mish Made is like the first small business where I like shared her stuff on a video that happened to go viral. And she messaged me like, Laurel, I'm sold out. Like I've never had before. And you guys should probably interview her actually. She's amazing. She's amazing. And she's an entrepreneur where she was like, actually the earrings that I wore, she said, I had this idea for these earrings and I made them and I thought they were so beautiful and they just like sat in my shop online and nobody bought them. And I found her randomly. She showed up on my FYP from like Mom Talk, I think. She was like, I'm going to eat this hot sandwich because my kids are with a sitter and I have a million things to do. I'm just going to sit here and like have my moment. And I like follow. And I didn't even know she was a maker until I started seeing some more of her stuff once I followed her. So I went to her website and I was like, oh my God, these are so beautiful. And they were the pair that she was like waiting for someone to buy. And they were like the first pair that went wild. And they were the ones that like she had initially believed in that just nobody saw. And like one of the videos I posted, a shit ton of people saw. And so it's like changed the trajectory of how she has to do business now, which is she used to do made to order, which means someone says, I want a pair of those. And she's like, okay. And she makes them and ships them out. And she couldn't keep up with it anymore. And I am by no means taking credit for any of that because I think that her work speaks for itself. I mean, it's stunning. It's gorgeous. Sometimes it just needs exposure.
Well, that's what I was going to say. And that's the beauty of having a platform, right? Is you get the opportunity to raise people up with you, right? And we believe that too. At Fresh Starts, we're all about rising tide and lifts everything. So I love Mish Made. I'm an earrings girly, so I'm obsessed with. I can't wait to get all these things. So I know there's a couple other shops too, like Shop Holly Girl that you love talking about. So I like definitely feel free to like shout out some of your faves and we'll tag them in the show notes and everything.
Hannah Wingate is another one. She makes the bags. She's a one-woman show and I love sharing her bags. And so like she reached out, well, she followed me and commented on something and I was like, Hannah, I love your bags. I'm saving up for one. And she was like, oh my God, I'm just gonna send you one. And we were like private messaging. And I was like, don't send me one. I want to buy one. And she said, you're going to wear my bag and that's going to be exposure and it's going to be worth more than you buying it. So like, so it's kind of been like almost like people send me stuff. Sometimes I buy stuff. Like it just depends. Sometimes someone will message me and say, you need to check out the shop and I will. And I love it. And I'll buy something. And then I'll message them like, is it cool if I feature you this Sunday? But yeah, working with these small businesses has been magical. And some of them like Holly Girl, she sends me stuff and I make a commission if, people buy stuff. Same with 1110 Leather. So like usually with the shop where I have a good discount code, I'm working with them. I'm pretty transparent about that. But I try not to, like when I put outfits together, I'm trying not to think about commission and the money. Able is another one that
oh my God, obsessed with Able.
I'm obsessed with Able too. And I feel like we're really going to grow this year. I'm excited. It feels weird to even be talking about it, but they are just like such a beautiful company to support. And I think the sticker shock sometimes of the prices can be like, that's a lot for a bag. And, I love a bargain, but the way that they always have sales and you can stack their codes, you can use my code on something that's already heavily on sale. Like they make it very affordable and accessible, and having clothes that have a lifetime guarantee or a size exchange if you gain weight or you lose weight, they are transparent about how they pay people and they get women out of bad situations nationally. Like it feels really awesome to be working with a company like that and to share like what they have to offer. Tiny Baker Creations is a really great little company. Erica, she makes earrings and bags and stickers. Lace and Pine, who I love. I actually am really excited. She's starting to do hats that are like branded. I think she like burns her designs into the hat. Some of them are on. And I was like, she sends me earrings all the times. Like, I'm buying a hat. And so I was like, my 100K gift to myself was buying a hat from her. Yeah. So there were like so many beautiful small businesses, tiny galaxies. Like, I have a lot of earrings right now. Let's put it that way.
I love that. I love that. We'll tag them all so people can go shop from them. I love that. So, speaking of fresh starts, do you have any advice for somebody that will be going down a fresh start journey and needs a little words of wisdom?
You know, nothing is linear. Healing is not linear, however you want to look at it. So we go through an ebb and flow every day. Nothing is going to be just streamlined. And so if you are more prepared to know that like there's going to be highs and lows and things that are really hard about this and things that feel really good, but you're going to power through and you're going to stay authentic to yourself, you know, the proof is in the pudding. That's kind of how I feel about it.
I love that.
Perfect.
I love that. I love your energy. And I hope that you know that. Like, I hope that you really take in the impact you're having on people, because you really are changing people's lives. And like, I say that with full, like, I hope that you like really know that, because there are a lot of us who grew up in the early 2000s that really never thought that we would be able to like feel good in our bodies and feel sexy and strong and find clothes that we felt kick ass in. And, you know, your combination of the divine feminine with being badass is really powerful. And I think I see you doing such big things. Like, I really think that this is like the beginning for you. And I am so excited to just like connect with you and to watch your journey. And you clearly are such a good person. And that comes through. It comes through, you know, and like, I think like, you know, we talk to a lot of people and, you know, your energy is so positive. And I think that that's why I never feel when I watch you like, oh, I should be doing this, or I should be doing that, or I should feel this way, or I should feel that way. It's always so like a big sister, right? Like inspiring. I don't have a big sister. I am the big sister. And so it's like, you know, I just feel really blessed that you took the chance and put yourself out there, because it is really scary to put yourself out there on a big platform. And we really believe we're all vibes. We're vibes people. And so, you know, we believe that when you lean into your joy and you follow what you should be doing and you're in alignment, you're going to do really big things in this world. And you are clearly doing that. And I just love your dedication to small businesses and women-owned businesses and people of color and all these things, and using your voice for good. So keep up all of the amazing work you're doing, because
Thank you so much for
you're just getting started. You're just getting started. Like, truly, like, this is it. Like, your rocket ship is
at 41, you know, think about that too. I think that it's like, you know, it's unrealistic expectations that we're supposed to have it all figured out when we're 8. And so
we talked to our therapist today on the podcast. Like, we did another episode earlier today.
Oh, cool.
And we had a whole conversation.
Yeah, we have the same therapist.
We're not why the other one's in therapy. Yeah. We talked about all of that, like how it's like the idea that kids go to college and we're like, what's your major going to be? They're 18-year-old children, you know, and then they come out and it's like, okay, you're an adult. And it's like, that's still a child. They're a slightly older child.
Yes. And I feel really lucky that, honestly, the best part about this whole thing is connecting me to other like-minded women who are like doing their thing. I mean, you know, you see some of these other women, like, Babies of Steel.
I love her.
Heather Rex is another one who I'm like friends in real life with now.
Yeah.
I'm like, can we all just have a retreat? Like, let's all just go somewhere and like see what it be like. Because, you know, the connection through social media, like, it's legit. It really is. It's not fake. I've made actual friends through this app. I always knew I wanted to be an art therapist from like a young age, and I stuck with it because they ended up really liking it. And that was just coincidental. But I'm one of those people where I always thought there's nothing else that I could really be doing. Like, I'm not really good at anything else. And like this year has shown me that is not true. So, you know, I'm in a helping profession. I'm an empath. And so I think that like drawing on that, tapping into that while also doing something completely different and like really keeping that part of my life separate for the most part, is like, it's been creative for me in a different way. And so it's doing this, definitely feeding my soul as much as it seems like it's feeding other people. So it's been so wild. Like, I can't believe I'm on a podcast right now. It's so crazy.
The first of many podcasts. And we're going to say, no, we had Laurel first.
What is next for you? Like, what can we see? What's happening in 2023 for the Midwest mom?
Oh my gosh. I don't know, like nothing specific. I don't think. I am like venturing into the land of UGCs to see what that and to see if I like that. And I don't have to use my platform. I just kind of have to use my creativity. So I'm really excited. You know, one thing about being an art therapist that I've been really bad at since having the kids is making my own art. And
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, like carving out time for that. You know, I do pet portraits sometimes, like if a friend's dog dies. But you know, people are like, do you have an Etsy shop? And I'm like, listen, I can't do pictures of dead dogs all day. Like, I just can't do it. I have to, you know, I'm in a creative profession. I'm doing these videos, but I know that there's more. And so I feel like, you know, kind of venturing into that world to see how I like it and to see if, you know, that is feeding the creative piece that I'm looking for. So that's like definitely one thing. So if you hear my voice, because I don't know that I'm even going to be in them, I think it's going to be like my hands, my voice. And like getting paid for that is totally different. So, you know, finding different hustles, like income.
We'll talk about it. I have ideas, Laurel. I'm percolating.
Please tell me.
We're gonna do some business coaching after this. We'll let you go, but it's been such a joy to talk to you, and you're just so positive and enthusiastic, and we're so excited to watch you on your journey. So thank you for being here, and we will share all of your links and all of everything we talked about in the show notes. So if anybody has any questions, please go follow Laurel. She is such a comforting place to be on this big wild west of the internet. So thank you for being here today, Laurel.
Thank you so much for having me, Jenny. I hope your shingles feel better.
Thank you for listening to today's story. We're always here, and we're proud of you. Until next time, brave one.
A Fresh Story is brought to you by Fresh Starts Registry, the first and only platform for everything you need to start again. You can read the show notes and learn more about today's episode at freshstartsregistry.com/podcast.